Lamar Jackson was asked, will the new offense, remember he's gotten Todd Monken, new offensive coordinator. Shady, he was asked, will the new offense highlight different aspects of his game? Lamar Jackson said something that has completely changed my opinion of him. In all honesty, this is not hyperbole. Lamar said, running can only take you so far. Now, when Emmanuel Acho says it, I sound like a hater. I sound stupid. I sound ignorant. I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. But Lamar saying that tells me Lamar can legitimately win a Super Bowl. I will start the show. I don't like to do it, but I have to for the sake of this point. I will start the show with maybe the most intriguing statistic I have found in sports as it pertains to football. I think about quarterbacks that have ever won Super Bowls. And what is their passing ratio to their running ratio? Quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls, what is their pass to rush ratio? Let's throw it on the screen. I don't want to keep it any longer from the viewers at home. Now, Lamar Jackson's career, passing yards to rushing yards, 2.8 to 1. But in order to win a Super Bowl, you have to be at lowest. Russell Wilson was 6 to 1. Aaron Rodgers, 11 to 1. Steve Young, 13.5 to 1. That's how many passing yards you have to rushing yards you have. Bring us on camera. The viewer understands the full screen. When Lamar said, running can only take you so far, Shady, he told me that he has finally realized he has to change the way in which he plays because running can only take you so far. And thus far, it's only taken him to one playoff win. Shady, I'll end my thought by saying this. Michael Jordan, I believe it was his third year in the league, he averaged 37 points per game. He individually accomplished tremendous things, but if y'all were paying crucial attention to The Last Dance, phenomenal documentary, if y'all were paying attention to it, Phil Jackson showed up and he said, hey, you got to change the way you look at things. Got to be a little bit more team-oriented, triangle offense. It was one pivotal shift in the way Jordan changed his game, along with the likes of Phil Jackson, that allowed him to not be an incredible individual, but the greatest of all time. Lamar Jackson has already been an incredible individual, but now, Shady, I'm convinced he can win a Super Bowl. You've won 2 of them. You're not wearing your ring, but I think it might be around here somewhere. Are you convinced Lamar Jackson can win a Super Bowl?
Yes, I am. I'm very convinced he can win a Super Bowl. And one thing you said, you talked about how Michael Jordan changed his philosophy of just him going out there and scoring and actually being a team thing with the triangle offense.
Yes, sir.
Same thing with the Ravens, right? Greg Roman is an offensive run coordinator. I had him in Buffalo.
Their former offensive coordinator.
He runs the ball so well, right? With misdirections, but now with Todd Monken, it's different. So now it's not Lamar choosing to run or throw. It's more, let's throw the ball. That's the concept. We want to throw the ball. And then if you choose to run, let's add that to it. So I love what Lamar Jackson has. It's not just him, it's what's in place for him. Bringing the offensive coordinator there is tremendous for Lamar Jackson, because now we can see him as a passer. And he's right. You got to be able to throw the ball in this league. But then if you look at his weapons, when you get this a young kid like Zay Flowers in the draft, that puts that speed out there, okay? Then you sign Odell Beckham. Now he does all the route trees. Now you can really scheme guys up. Okay, they want to take Odell. Okay, now we'll send some things over top. Okay, and then you have Mark Andrews still. And this is probably the first time I think J.K. Dobbins is finally healthy to have a training camp to see what he really can do. I love what the Ravens have. You say all that, and I say all that, you say all that, and now we got to talk about they have a number 3 defense last year. So you add that type of offense with that type of coaching and a defense, there's no doubt that they could be a contender for a Super Bowl.
No doubt about it. Joy, where do you stand? Can you convince Lamar can win a Super Bowl?
Yes, I mean, he's won a league MVP. He's been a dynamic player from the moment that he's stepped foot in the NFL. There's always been this misconception about him that he can't throw the ball. If you really watch Lamar and the Ravens, he's running as much as he's running because he has to run that much. If you put him in an offense where he can choose to throw the ball first, when he has the ability, when he has the weapons, when he has the stability in the offense to throw the ball first, he can do that. I like him saying this because it also helps to reinforce that we are going to try to throw the ball more. There are these subtle things in our psyche and the fans and in the media that we're like, well, Lamar knows they need to throw it more, so let's see if they actually give him the opportunity to throw it more. If they don't, just say, hey, Lamar, go win the game. Go be great. Go figure this out. We don't really have options for you. We don't really have the receivers that you need. We're not really dialing up the offense to put it in someone else's hands and to go over the top. You go make it happen. And to his credit, he has been able to do that. But he's right. You're not going to be able to run forever. And really the best kind of offenses are ones where you throw the ball first and you have the ability to slash a defense with the running capability that Lamar Jackson has.
No doubt about it. You're convinced. Shady, Joy's convinced. I'm convinced. Slick, are you convinced Lamar can win a Super Bowl? That grin is answering louder than your words will.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. And it has less to do with Lamar Jackson's ability to throw as much as it has to do with the competition that he's up against. Do I think he's a better... Even tilting the scales toward throwing the ball more. Do I think he's going to be a better passer than Patrick Mahomes? No, I don't. Do I think he can be a better passer than Joe Burrow? No, I don't. Josh Allen, we can have that debate, but as for now, I would say no. So I like the move that the Ravens are making, but if I go back to 2019 when he was an MVP and when the Ravens were 14-2, that was a far different AFC North. They could beat up on that division.
Good point.
There was no Joe Burrow. Freddie Kitchens was the head coach with Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. That was the year that Roethlisberger only played 2 games. So to recapture that and do it with the emphasis on throwing and with where the AFC is right now and the youth of the other quarterbacks, it's not so much looking at Lamar Jackson and not believing in him as much as what the Ravens collectively are going to have to go through in order to get there.
That was a brilliant point. What I love about this show, you will get nuance. That was brilliant, very historically driven as well. Shady, okay, if we know that Lamar Jackson has only won 1 playoff game, and to Slick's point, it is a murderous row, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals. What does Lamar have to do to silence the critics? Because the criticism has been loud. What's he have to do to silence the critics?
When I look at a player, especially a quarterback, I look at, okay, who's he going up against? And we're going to talk about Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Rodgers,
Tua,
all them guys,
Herbert,
right?
all those dudes.
Then the
Yes, sir.
second layer is, what are you doing against the quarterbacks in your draft class?
Good point.
He's been paid top dollar right now, and a guy named Josh Allen's been paid top dollar. Same class. Josh has been to a AFC Championship game. So it's time for Lamar Jackson. That's the guideline. Look, bro, you got to pass that. At least get there. And then when that happens, you have so much time to get a Super Bowl, but we got to see you get to the game, to the big game.
Yeah.
And that's the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, you can't let your peers get too far past you. Joy, I recall my freshman year at the University of Texas. We're sitting down in the all-team meeting. Shady, I'm sure you can attest to this. Sitting down in the team meetings in your meeting room. You have your whole recruiting class there. It's me, the likes of Justin Tucker. He was in my recruiting class, amongst others. Your head coach will tell you this. Look to your left, look to your right. Only one of y'all going to the National Football League. That's what the odds say. Look to your left, look to your right. Only one of y'all going to the NFL. If it's not you, it's one of them too.
Right.
Essentially saying, do not let your peers pass you.
Yeah.
Every day I was working out, I'm like, uh-oh. If he outworking me, then that means based upon the odds, it's going to be him, not me. So it's don't let your peers pass you. That's kind of what Shady's getting to is like, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are peers. Only one of y'all can get to a Super Bowl. They can both get to an AFC Championship game, but look to your left, look to your right. If it ain't one of them two, it's you. Joy, what will it take for Lamar to silence the critics?
Well, what are the critics saying? Because he's been paid. He's obviously one of the most talented and dynamic players in the league. He's won a league MVP. So if the critics are saying that he needs to get to an AFC Championship game, I could get with that. But to me, the criticisms of Lamar that I believe are consistent and valid at this point, not that making to an AFC Championship game or a Super Bowl isn't valid, because that's what everyone's playing for and top players play for. But he's got to stay healthy for a season.
Great point.
Like, that's really been the question for the last few years about what Lamar Jackson is going to even be able to do in the playoffs, because he's got to be available for the postseason. So to me, if I'm being, realistic and not hyperbolic, which we will get to later on in the season, I think he needs to be healthy all the way through the season and available at the end of the year. Like, that's seems like a silly mark to make, but when you're looking at what's happened with Lamar for the past 2 years, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, how differently would it have gone this year if he was available in that game? I think we all think that they would have won that game if Lamar Jackson was available. And he only has 1 playoff win. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. So for as incredible as he's been in the regular season, and he has been the second best only to Patrick Mahomes in the regular season when it comes to wins, I think that's the next step. So it's going to be hard for us to really dig in on anyone in the AFC this year, unless somebody really falls off the mark. It's just, there's so many great teams, there's so many great quarterbacks in the AFC, and only 2 of them are going to make it to the AFC Championship game.
Slick, 24 quarterbacks have won 1 or more playoff games since Lamar Jackson entered the league. Lamar Jackson, like Joy said, has won 1.
Yeah.
13 quarterbacks have won 2 or more playoff games since Lamar Jackson entered the league.
Okay.
What does Lamar have to do to silence critics?
How many of those were league MVPs?
Probably only 3. Yeah.
So to me, he's got to get to the conference championship. And I generally don't believe in cross-referencing sports, but I can't help but sense there's a little bit of the Nikola Jokic aspect to Lamar Jackson here, in that he's an MVP and we're looking for him to validate that with his postseason success. And what did we do once Jokic got to the conference championship, right? Once he got to the conference finals, it was already, oh, hey, you know what? Jokic is that guy.
Yeah.
Like, we believed in him, right? To me, that's what he needs to prove. If he wins a playoff game, he's still 2-3 in the playoffs. And it's still, okay, so you're a good quarterback and you're a quarterback that can win in the playoffs. But was that a singular event, that MVP season? Or are you really that level of a quarterback? And I believe getting to the conference championship would give him that stamp of validity.
Yeah. My thing, the joy is, how is it that for Lamar it's just a playoff game win, but for everybody else it's like they got to go out there and really get it done? Like A-Rod, I'm just trying to figure it out. Because when I say a playoff win is hard to do and get the Super Bowl, you kill me for it. But then for Lamar, you saying just be healthy and just win a playoff game.
Well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is considered to be one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. He won back-to-back league MVPs, and we've done nothing but talk about him for the whole offseason. So, and I'm fine with it not being the standard, but we just got to keep that same energy for everyone.
But that's in your case. If we saying that Lamar's MVP,
I think he should. I think he should go further. But I'm saying,
okay,
Aaron,
I'm sorry, be on the same page.
He should go further.
Okay.
But it's like the hype for Aaron Rodgers is what's putting in perspective for me. Like, we can't be that excited that he's going to this team and then be like, oh, well, if he wins a playoff game, it's cool.
I also think what they're criticized for is different. To Joy's point, Lamar's criticized first and foremost. First thing, he can't stay healthy. Last 2 years, he's ended injured. I literally rewatched it before the show.
Okay.
Concussion Bills, ankle versus the Browns last year, knee versus the Broncos. Aaron Rodgers was criticized for something different.
Wait, so hold on. So I never heard you criticize Lamar for not only having one playoff win?
Oh, that as well. But the first level of criticism is he can't even stay healthy. After that, then it's like, yo, you got to win a playoff.
Listen.
Talk to me.
Hurt or not hurt, like everyone wants to play. That's just what it is. People get injured. But the real thing, the nuts and bolts is wins and losses. Yeah. So I'm saying, I've heard you say, oh, well, I mean, if we want to say Lamar how great he is, he has to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, he absolutely has to produce more postseason
Okay,
success.
I just want to be on the same playing field for every quarterback.
Step one is he's got to stay healthy.
Because if he doesn't stay healthy, none of the other stuff matters. Not
that we're spiraling into a whole different conversation here, but like, Lamar Jackson is in the prime of his career.
Right.
So if he wins a playoff game this year and say they're in the next round, they're in the divisional round, and it comes down to the wire and it's a great game and they lose to another great team, I feel like I can live with that. But it all depends on how it goes.
I don't know. They got the number 3 defense last year, right? I think I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan. I think everything he has to win is there.
Well, I guess I'm saying I feel like Aaron Rodgers.
It ain't gonna get no easier.
Aaron Rodgers' window to be successful is much smaller than Lamar Jackson.
Very, very, very true.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.